Hey, I'm James. Let's take a look at the modern rich text editor plugin built on Editor.js from Zeroqode. Okay, let's take a look at the plugin itself. So as a quick overview, this allows you to have a super powerful rich text editor within your Bubble app. If you've ever used Notion before or tools like it, it's very similar. You've got block-based elements within your text editor. We can see here some of the blocks, all of the blocks and features it supports, headings, paragraphs. You've got inline formatting, uploading and changing of images. You can drag and drop to reorder blocks. It supports auto binding for auto saving to the database, exporting as JSON and HTML. You can even tag users as well, pulling from the database of users. So there's a lot this can do. Let's have a quick look. There's a few links on this page that are very important to check out before installing. So the live demo button is the first one here. This will open up a Bubble app with the plugin pre-installed that we can kind of play around with and test out from a user's point of view. So let's have a quick look at what the plugin can do before we jump into any sort of building. If I start typing something here, I'll just say test, and I highlight, we can see that we have a bunch of formatting options inline already appearing beautifully within our text editor. Really minimal styling, really nice to use. If I press slash, or if I press plus, this is going to add something new, a new block, and we can see all the block types that we have here, and headers, lists, and images, and quotes, and code blocks, and line breaks, and all sorts of fun stuff here. All right, this is a test. We can see the output happening right here. This is a test in JSON. We've got the HTML output and we've got the plain text output, all with auto binding and immediately working. There are also workflows that are attached to this, so we can reset the whole input and start from fresh. We can insert a block. Let's insert a table there. You can insert some text and a mention, and that's tagging someone from the data from our user list. We could try that out as well here. If I press at, we can bring up a user and we can see it's exposing the state for the user as well. So we can reference it and work with it in workflows. If we go back to the plugin page, there's also the demo editor button. Now this will open up the exact same Bubble app that we were just testing out, but from the Bubble editor point of view. So we can go in and see how things are displayed and working and what we can customize and how it's all put together and all the properties that can be changed for the actual text editor, which is this element here. And there are a lot of them. We'll go through them in a little bit, but you can have a look at them before even installing. And that's the beauty of this here. You can see what can be customized and changed and how it's all set up and built and linked together before installing anything. So you can confirm whether it works for your app. And that, of course, includes all the workflows that are attached. So we can see, how this works and how we're inserting text and inserting HTML and all that sort of, all those workflows that we just saw in the demo app. Also on this page is the documentation link. Now this is very important. This brings you through everything you need to know to set up and install the app and all the properties and parameters you can customize this plugin with. That includes as well some actions and workflows, the states you have access to, the events that are attached to the plugin. I usually keep the documentation page open in a separate tab while I'm working. It's just a great reference to have to look at and compare to while building. The last thing I want to mention on this page is our intercom chat widget here. If you have any questions about this plugin before installing, while you're installing it, troubleshooting, anything like that, send us a message here. We would love to help you out and get things up and running for you. Okay, let's jump into Bubble and start building. Okay, the first thing we're going to need to do is to get this plugin into our app. So on the left-hand side, click on the Plugins tab here, and then in the top right, Add Plugins. And we're going to search for Modern Rich Text Editor. And that's the one we want here. Editor.js built by Zeroqode. Now, there are two options for installing this plugin. There is a once-off payment or there is a monthly subscription. Now, the subscription is the most risk-free way to try this out and the cheapest way to try this out, as you're charged on a pro rata basis. You're only charged for the days that you have this plugin active and installed in your app. So if you install it and try it out for one day, test things out, and then decide it's not quite right for you and you want to install the next day, you're only charged for that one day, which in this case would be $8 per month divided by, for example, 30 days in a month. So it's a very risk-free way to test this and try things out before committing, for example, to the larger purchase here. But whichever way you go, install this plugin and let's jump into the editor. Okay, once we have the plugin installed, back in our design tab, if we go to our assets panel on the left and search for the word modern, you'll see we have a new element here, the Modern Rich Text Editor. Let's drag that onto our canvas, and this is our element. And these are all the properties associated. So this is where we'll be doing the bulk of setting up this text editor and making it behave and customizing it the way it needs to for our app. But before we change anything, let's just hit preview and see what we have in our app so far without making any adjustments at all. There we are. We have a plain white page. We have a placeholder here, and I can click in. We can see the plus button's off the screen a bit, but we can start typing and things will work nicely. All right, so we have to make some adjustments right away. Let's put some padding around this. So I'm going to put this in a group, and I'll put some padding in that group just so that we're not squished up against the edges. Looking good. And we have an issue here we need to resolve immediately, which is where the file uploads are enabled. So I'll just press yes for that. Okay, let's go back to preview. Okay, this is looking a bit better. We can see the plus. We've got some room. You can put some test text in. Looking good. All right, let's go back to our editor. Just before we jump into it, if you need any help building your app or product, feel free to reach out to our team by visiting our website at Zeroqode.com. We're the largest maker of plugins for Bubble, as well as the top gold tier Bubble agency. We have almost 10 years of experience and can help you build any web, mobile, or AI product, or even help automate your business. While you're there, make sure you check out Zeroqode.com/plugins. This is the full list of all the plugins we make, and there's like over 700 of them. So there's something there to cover pretty much everything your app could possibly need to do. For example, there's Stripe Marketplace Express. This helps you accept credit card payments on your app. There's Mapbox Maps, and this gives all sorts of maps functionality. This one's really good for saving on Bubble's hosting costs. This is AWS File Uploader, so you can store your files on your own S3 bucket. There's Air Calendar, there's Air Chat and Messaging. There's so many more there, so definitely explore that and check that out. So, like I said, this properties panel is where we're going to be doing most of what we're customizing. So we'll go through each section and see what's available to us to change, and we'll set some things up. So, for starters, we can do auto binding if we're wanting to enable it here. We'll have a look at that in a little bit, actually, because I think that's useful to check. We can make this read-only if we want to restrict certain users and change our placeholder. Let's say type something here, and we can change the color, of course. Okay, and there are now, in each of these, very specific customization options for each block type in the text editor. So this is talking about our header block. If we want to enable or disable the header block itself, what the placeholder is, and then how many levels of the header, what the default is, and all the font sizes for every single header size, and the font weight for every single header size. So you can make that very granular. Same for the image block. We can enable or disable images entirely, and the caption field, what the caption placeholder is, and the compression. This block, so there we go. So it's going through each type here of block and what we can customize and change for each of those blocks. We've got other inline tools and quote blocks and checklist blocks and the line break block. Now, for every single one of these, there is a show documentation button here that gives you more information about what that option does. Super handy. Keep an eye on that if something is unclear. And this all corresponds with the documentation link that we saw earlier on this video. All right, so there's our code block, our table block. This is all the options for mentioning and tagging, so whether we want to enable or disable it, and what the data it's corresponding to is in our database, and the colors. Same for the warning block, how we want embeds to work, if we auto-embed links or not. And these are our main styling options here. So what the color of the links are, what the marker colors are, what the main color of the block is, what the focus color and the background color and the border color, and everything you want to customize here. Which is fantastic because you can make this feel completely native to your app and feel like it just fits in there and belongs there and matches the rest of your styling. Same for the options for the file uploader. We do have a beta block here, the toggle block, so you can test it out and see if that works for your use case, and then privacy options for files. Okay, underneath that, you have the internationalization of each term. So if you want to reference attachments as something different or checklists as something different, or change the label for any of these, this is where you would do that. Keep going. We have other options here. Do you want to enable drag and drop for reordering? So what that would be in reference to is if we go back to our preview, and I will type block 1 and then a block 2. So I can click and drag and move that up to above block 1 if I want to. And without that, you can also just click each of these and say move up or move down, and it'll just jump it up or down. So whichever use case is better for your app. Again, more options for hiding and showing, and what the icons are and how they behave, their search. And then underneath that, we have our main styling as you would see for any Bubble element. Phew, all right, that's a lot of stuff. But there's a lot you can customize. So I do recommend taking the time to go through and making this work with the way you want your app to work. For me, I'm going to change a few things. I'm going to make this not fixed width. I'm going to make it full width, so it takes up the full width of my container. I'm going to hide the header block because, I don't necessarily need it for our test app. I'm going to disable the drag and drop as well and just keep those up and down buttons or toggle up and down. And what else I'll also do is enable auto binding. Let's have a quick look at that. So what this is going to do is automatically save to the specified field in the database without needing an action to save. So we don't need to put a save button here. It's just going to keep saving as we type. So I'll click that, and we need to kind of show it what it's saving to and how this is going to work, and set the parent elements thing, basically. So we put this in a group at the start, just so we had some padding, but this is also how we're going to specify what auto binding is binding to. To have a look at this, I'm going to go to my data tab, and I've made a data type here called posts. And inside posts, I've just put one field called body and made it the type text. Super simple, just for our demonstration. And in posts, I've, oh, there we go. It's already doing it. In posts, I'm just going to start fresh. We'll go delete that one. And I will make a new entry, and let's just put the body of test for now. But of course, you would build this in with your app and how new elements are created and new things are created in your database with your own workflows. But we'll keep this simple for our demonstration. Okay, so we'll go back to our design tab. So this is our modern rich text editor element, and the parent group is group A, the group we put it inside of. So this is where we set the type of content, which we want to be post, and the data source. Now, again, in your app, you would make this, work with your workflows and your data structure. To keep things simple for us, I'm just going to say, do a search for posts and just grab the first item because we only have one item in there. Okay, cool. Now we have an issue that's appeared. That's actually what we want. If we click on our rich text editor, we can see a new field has appeared. Once we have auto binding on parent elements thing checked and we've set the parent elements thing, Bubble now needs to know which field are we changing in this parent element. Now, if we had many, many fields and body and title and date and user and whatever else we had linked to our post type, we would have them all displayed here, but we only have body. We just want to be modifying the body field. Great. Okay, so now we should be able to go in, make some changes and type some things here. So let's say this is a test text input for auto binding. And you see our loader just appear very quickly there. That should mean, if we go back to our database here, we can see, here it is. This is a test text input for auto binding. Great. Now there's a bunch of other stuff here as well. We've got time, blocks, ID, type. This is all the JSON that this plugin saves its content as. Now this is excellent for us. This means that the structure is preserved, all the formatting is preserved, all the block types and the order in which those block types are placed is preserved, and the media attached, and everything is there. It's a lot more rich than just the plain text. Oh, I guess that's rich text plugin. Much more rich than the plain text format that would normally be saved. So if we go back to our app, let's put a bunch more things in here. Let's say we want to put a list, an item 1, an item 2, and item 3. And then we want to put, I don't know, maybe a quote. This is a quote, and it is by me. So we've got all this stuff that's appearing here. What else should we put? We should put a checklist by bananas, also by bread. All right. And each time you can see it auto binding and auto saving each time. Now, if we close this window, go back to our editor, let's open that up again, actually. We can see a lot more that's appeared here. So now we can see here's our paragraph with this is a text input. We can see the list and the items and how many items there are and what they are, and a quote, and everything here, that the information that Bubble needs to re-display this every single time. So if we go back and we hit preview again, the page will load and everything is here exactly as it should be displayed. All the formatting is preserved. All the elements are preserved. The checkboxes are preserved. And this is the beauty of saving, this plugin saving everything as JSON, as all this structure is here. And we can keep referencing it and nothing changes. We know it's always going to be displayed the way that it was entered. Great. Let's do one last thing here and have a look at some of the workflows. So I'm going to attach a button, put a button in here. Let's put a little bit of spacing here. And let's say this button has a label of clear text. All right, let's add a workflow. So when button clear text is clicked, if I search for modern, we can see all the actions that we have related to this plugin. So we can reset a modern rich text editor. We can display JSON data. So for example, the data we were just looking at in the database, we can display that in an editor. Put an empty block in, display plain text instead of the JSON, insert a paragraph, or re-render the JSON that's been created for a rich text editor. Insert text, focus the editor. There's all sorts of fun stuff here. But for us, what we want to do is reset and start from fresh. And the element that we're specifying, well, we only have one in our app, so that should do it there. Cool. Let's see how that goes. I preview. And as we saw before, everything is preserved. All our formatting and options and quotes are all here. And, we can still move them up and down and reorganize them all as blocks. But if I click clear text, there we go. We're back fresh. It's updated in our database and we're starting fresh. Nice. Let's look at another workflow. So I'm going to put another button in here. Let's group these two in a row. And let's put some spacing here just so that we're not all squished up. Okay, let's add an emoji with this button. All right, let's add a workflow. Same thing, modern. And we want to, what do we want to do? Insert text at cursor position. And the text we want to put in, let's put a banana. Again, we only have the one rich text element. So we don't need to specify there. All right, let's hit preview. Let's see what we got. So I've got my cursor there. I'll click add an emoji and there we go. A banana's been inserted right there where our cursor was. So you can make this, insert a template, for example, if a template's been saved in the database by your user. I'm thinking along Notion lines here. Or insert anything else from any other part of the app that references text that's saved as text. It could be something from a user or from elsewhere in your database. A nice quick way to add something into this text editor. All right, back on our demo app here. Like we saw at the beginning, there's a lot more that this can do. You can be making little note apps like this. You can be referencing other users. This one here. There we go. So we can be, mentioning users. You've got different output formats. You've got different ways to structure the actual editor itself. So I do recommend having a look at the documentation for more advanced builds and implementation, depending on what you're wanting to build with your app. But for our app today, that should be everything you need to get the ball rolling and get started with this plugin and looking at all the customization properties and options and some workflows displaying text and customizing the experience. And that's about it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope this is helpful. And if you have any questions at all about any of this, send us a message. We would love to help out. Happy building.